welcome back to another episode of Brit in Poland. This week I take you to Tarnobrzeg, which is actually a very short distance from Sandomierz. So this place is part of the Podcarpatia or Subcarpathia voivodeship, and it's pretty cool. You have a Dzikow castle here, which I'll tell you about. You have a few interesting monuments and churches, and you have the massive lake behind me, Lake Tarnobrzeg, which is a lovely place to come in the summer. So please stay tuned, and I will give you all of the information you need to know about Tarnobrzeg and everything you can do and see here. See you soon. Dzień dobry, and welcome to A Brit in Poland. This channel is going to bring you everything you need to know about Poland. I am exploring the country, bringing you the history, trying to tell you about the culture and show you what it is really like to live here. So feel free to check out my other media, Instagram, Facebook, and I will share links to those in the comments. I also have a website, www.britlivinginpoland.com, where I collate my videos for easy to view manner. Also, you are welcome to contribute to my efforts through Patronite or Patreon, and all descriptions are available below the video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and please come back for more by subscribing, liking, or commenting. Thank you very much. Do zobaczenia.
So, let's get into it. So, Tarnobrzeg is in the southeast of Poland, and it was fairly simple to get to from Sandomierz. It was just a bus away. The city itself was founded in 1593 by the Tarnowski family, and it was originally a centre of trades and crafts, as well as a famous place of Marian worship. The city covers an area of roughly 85.4 kilometres squared and is permanently inhabited by approximately 46,000 people. The city itself is actually surrounded by forests. I kind of touched briefly into some of the nature. Most of the nature I saw was the lake that you have in the south. It was a very nice day, or actually it took me 2 days, day and a half to go around. And we're going to start with the Dzikow castle or palace Dzikow, depending on how you want to call it. It was a residential complex, which actually the structure dates back to the 15th century. And it was once part of the village of Dzików, which is now part of Tarnobrzeg. The construction of the castle was initiated in the 15th century as a defensive tower manor house. And in the 17th and 18th centuries, it was adopted by the Tarnowski family and rebuilt. A system of bastion fortifications was added to the castle. In 1830, the castle was rebuilt again into a residence and a museum in the neo-Gothic style. According to the design of the architect Franciszek Maria Lancy, the Tarnowski family gathered large collections of works of art, a library and an archive in the castle. And sadly, in the interwar period, the palace burned down and it was rebuilt in 1931. I think it was this fire or another fire where a large collection of the priceless books in the library was destroyed, despite the servants' best efforts to save it. Sadly, 9 of them lost their lives when the ceiling collapsed and the whole place was evacuated. So from the 19th century, it's also been surrounded by a large landscape park. I'll show you a bit of that very shortly. And from 2011, the castle has housed the Historical Museum of the city of Tarnobrzeg, and there is a lot to be seen here. It takes quite a while to go around the castle. You have a lot of different rooms with a lot of paintings, a lot of beautiful furniture, and in particular, you have things like this Rembrandt you see here. So it has quite a lot of value in there. it is, of course, associated a bit with hunting, like a lot of these castles, and you see these kinds of motifs a lot. So out the back of the castle there is a nice cafe where I stopped for a sangria. They recommend the sangria, and I will recommend the sangria as well. On a hot day, it was very refreshing. You can see that the castle does have a moat. I don't know if it's ever filled these days. Looking at it, it doesn't look like it. But then I was there at the height of summer, so who's to say? You have some interesting buildings surrounding it, and this lovely kind of botanical garden kind of thing, which makes it a perfect place to visit in summer. A lot of colour, lovely smells in the air, and it was very calm until I discovered this dragon egg, and I thought, okay, I better get out of here. So I ran off to the north, and I found on my way a few nice ponds, some lovely fields, some, kind of nice uninterrupted nature for a change. And I just took a nice stroll. It was a fair walk, actually. I think it took about 20 minutes or so from the castle. Maybe I exaggerate, who can say? And basically I was heading up to the north, and the reason why is like one of the only other museums of the city, which is a former granary, actually houses the Museum of Polish Sulfur. And the discovery of large sulfur deposits in the 1950s was one of the most important events in the city's history because it completely transformed the industry here. So the sulfur industry actually ran on until the 1990s, when it collapsed, sadly. And then mine after mine would close. So one in Piaseczno, one in Machów, and the Dzikow mine would all be shut. And I'm sure it was a very sad day for the residents because, of course, as we've seen in the UK with the closing of the coal mines, a lot of jobs would have been lost. So you have a bit of a museum. The upstairs is dedicated to the sulfur aspect, and you can learn all about the industry there. As you can see, it was quite extensive, and it did really grow the city. It brought in a lot of housing, a lot of jobs. And in the end, what happened? So we're now at Lake Tarnobrzeg, so this is like very much in the south of the city. And believe it or not, this lake or reservoir is artificial. So it was constructed between the years like 1994 to 2010. You can see it has various amusements. They weren't particularly active when I was there, but then I was kind of there in the middle of the week. And to give you a little bit more of information, the original mine was 560 hectares and actually went to 110 meters deep. And then the reservoir now, which is the fourth deepest in Poland, is 455 hectares and 42 meters deep. So you can see it's been transformed into a large recreational area. You have these floating inflatable things which look fun, but I don't think I'd survive, to be honest. I'm not the best swimmer. You have this cool wake park. There are a whole series of different bars and things along the river, but this one I think was my favourite just because of the decor. So of course I enjoyed a nice pint of, half litre of perwa while I was just watching out to the lake and pretending I was in a tropical paradise for a short time. It's a truly beautiful place. You can see there are a few people doing water sports. It was very quiet at this point because, as I said, I was there during the week. But it's a fantastic place to go in the summer. You can see that you've got the beaches running along the side of it, so it almost feels like the seaside even though you are nowhere near the sea. There are a couple of routes to get there. You have this, what I call the natural route, and this takes you through a few fields, past some kind of isolated houses, and you get to see some lovely scenic views. Or you can go through the centre, through the streets, and you're greeted with a number of churches and crosses. This particular church, which originally dates back to around 1000 AD as a wooden structure, is the Church of St. Mary Magdalene. And the structure you see now is actually from the 14th century. And it's a pretty cool building. I couldn't get inside, but I always love these things that are very old and connected with history. So we're going to gradually walk to the centre, and we have a few more sights to see there. So let's look at my random entry of history and perhaps bring out a few more facts. Oh, here's a cool water tower. I say cool, but it just stood out on the horizon, and it's an interesting shape. This is the town centre, and you can see it's quite spacious. It's surrounded by tenement houses. There are various statues. There's an incredible fountain here, which I just thought was so kind of beautiful, very artistic. I think it's meant to be a rose, but don't quote me on that one. So there's quite a few things dotted around here. Of course, the town hall. You have the statue of Bartosz Głowacki, who was a hero of the Koszulka uprising. Please, I need to really learn these things better. I think you'll find he's also present in the Rackowicka Museum, which I haven't quite got to yet, but I hope to one day. There are quite a few little central parks, which really help with the kind of beautiful setting. And I'm trying to remember what this building was. It looks like a government building, or maybe it was some kind of university. I can't remember, but it looks nice. And it was just fun. It was just nice and very calm and relaxing to walk around. You had all these kind of novelty things very centrally. And I had a good day here. We're just going to get to the sanctuary of Our Lady of Dzików. And it's this main church that they have in the centre. Here it is now. And it's Baroque and has an adjacent Dominican monastery. And it's particularly famous because it houses this painting of Our Lady of Dzików, which was said to grant miracles and used to be kept in the palace. So I did my best to kind of walk around and see what there was to see. I got the impression, as I said, that it was very quiet. But there were quite a few nice buildings, nice monuments, quite a few churches dotted around. And I don't know, I just got this sense of peace and tranquility when I was there. I think the sun helped, because the sun always makes me feel incredibly calm. The area itself, it's actually about 16 different kind of areas combined into one. So a lot of these were like independent villages that were kind of gradually sucked up by Tarnobrzeg, like the Roman Empire taking no prisoners. Maybe not quite so dramatic. But you see a lot of these sculptures. There's one, I think this one was particularly I don't know, you blink and maybe you think you're in ancient Greece. I swear I saw online that this is meant to be John Paul II, but I'm very skeptical about that one. And, okay, so a few random things. So the original settlements tend to date back to around about 1000 AD. So the area has been inhabited for a long time. It suffered a little bit in that time. It was invaded by the Tatars in 1241. So that area around the Gothic church was pretty much flattened. It was invaded by the Lithuanians and the Ruthenians, modern day Ukrainians, in 1376. And yeah, they seem to devastate the forest for some reason. I don't know why anyone would do that. Jan Długosz stayed there in 1440. He's quite an important literary figure in Poland, and actually we will see his residence in probably the next video when I finally get to Sandomierz, which I've been promising to go to for a few years now. Let's see, you had the Swedish deluge in 1655 when the Swedes rampaged through. They did a lot of damage. Oh, by the way, sorry, I skipped it. But if you go back in the video for a minute, you have the brewery. So nice beer and food there, recommended. I did struggle using English, so I had to switch to Polish, which is always 50-50 for me. So yeah, the city was also devastated by the Cossacks and the Transylvanians in 1657, reconstructed in 1660. There in 1918, there was a big uprising from the peasants and they claimed independence. However, about a year later, Poland decided we're going to take it. And you wouldn't think it, but Tarnobrzeg is actually on the Vistula River. They have a lovely kind of reserve around it with these kind of statues but I was very sad that there weren't any bars. It feels like they want you to walk by the river, but they don't want you to stay there for too long. Maybe if you take a picnic, it's okay. So overall, Tarnobrzeg, you could probably do it in a day, or you could spend a night and relax. So I hope you enjoyed, and see you on the next video. Do zobaczenia.